Tristan with Nerded's Newsstand, and as some of you may know, I have absolutely been loving My Hero Academia. Now, just a full warning, there will be spoilers in this from about chapter 300 up, because I'm going to give you a little bit of background and context to tell you why this whole situation surrounding Mineta in chapter 321 is absolutely false. I'm going to debunk the fact that people are saying Mineta is bisexual and that he just recently comes out. Now, a lot of things I could say about Mineta. He really wants to be a hero. He really wants to be a hero. Okay, so the main character trait about Mineta is simply being a pervert. And we need to talk about this panel where he says, "I fell for you." Now, nothing has come out officially to confirm that he is bisexual, so what you're seeing here is headcanon working instead of actual canon, and that drives me insane. But if you want that to be your headcanon, then fine. But I'm going to tell you why it is absolutely fabricated. So let's start with a basic TLDR, right? So a few chapters ago, there was the war arc. We had Endeavor versus Shigaraki, Mr. Handyman. Endeavor was in the hospital, and then we saw Shigaraki's main objective was to steal One for All from Deku, because, Shigaraki has All for One. Now, the whole city was destroyed. We've seen character deaths. I won't spoil it completely because I absolutely think it's worth reading if you're not currently. And then we've seen Deku and Bakugo. They were protecting Aizawa. Shigaraki got to Gran Torino. He tried to kill him. Deku got mad. Deku was about to die. Bakugo put himself in harm's way for Deku and was stabbed multiple times. That is the context to as why we saw Deku go full rage mode. And for a couple days, he wasn't able to wake up. Meanwhile, in his coma, he was talking to every previous user of One for All. He even attained a few quirks. I think it's 4 and 7, a smoky sense, and then like a spider sense, right? He finds out he may be the last One for All user. He is the ultimate version, right? So when he finally does wake up, it happens to be in the middle of the night. He leaves a note for every student in 1A, and basically takes off. He takes off. While he's gone, he manages to take down Muscular, and he goes after some thugs. All for One sends an assassin, Lady Nugget. Deku then convinces her to become a hero, right? Because she was previously. And in full Suicide Squad fashion, she basically gets blown up. I think she's still alive, but even so. So all of this leads up to the students trying to convince Deku to come back to UA, and he doesn't want to. He is trying to protect them. He is trying to protect his friends from All for One and Shigaraki. Now, we saw people in the context surrounding this, like Bakugo and Ochako and Ida, trying to convince them through their words. We also see people like Sue trying to tell him, they're friends, and they cry and laugh together. We saw Todoroki tell him that he doesn't want Deku to have this burden alone. Share your burden. Denki even made jokes about bathing together. No one said anything about that, right? And Deku's new quirk, this dangerous Spidey sense, hasn't even kicked in. So he knows they're not really trying to hurt him. He knows these are his friends, and they're just trying to help him come back. And that's what we see here. Mineta trying to convince his friend to come back, telling how much he means to him as a friend. Now, I have both versions of this, the translated and the original. And of course, I don't know exactly what the original said, but this is an official translation. It is done well. But what we see him say is, "I never thought it was your power that made you awesome." Oh, as he's hitting him with balls in the face, that really doesn't help the situation we're talking about right now. So He says, when you were scared and sweating buckets, I fell for you. Now, from my understanding, a lot of people took this as, oh my God, he's bisexual. He has to be bisexual because of course he is. No, he is one of these friends that I talked about, whether it was Bakugo or Todoroki, that were simply saying, you are one of my really good friends. You are one of my really good friends. Let me help you. If you look at the context surrounding this, this doesn't confirm that Mineta is bisexual. It confirms that he cares about him as a friend. Now, in Japanese, when you say I fell for you, it's a little bit different. You can say I fell for you as in I fell in love with you, or I fell for you as a friend. I became that. I long for your friendship. So through a correct translation, but a different way of communicating, a lot of people are saying now that Mineta is bisexual. Well, that's just simply not true. If you take a look at the character, if you take a look at how he acts throughout the entirety of all 321 chapters, you would know that this is not a character that is bisexual. His whole stick is simply being a pervert. Now, he's definitely not one of my favorite characters. I actually find him rather boring just because he's but that's his whole stick, his whole personality, right? Is being that pervert. And I find it rather boring. It's a typical trope I've noticed in either anime or manga, but even so, he goes on to say, back when we found a path forward together, the way you were back then, and quaking in your boots. Again, this doesn't lead to Mineta being bisexual. This leads to him wanting to be a good friend and get Deku back. That's all. But of course, you have people either A, being excited that they have this bisexual representation in a very good manga. I'm not saying that at all, but you know, they are very young. So weird. But another thing they are saying is that it is not the right type of representation. It is not what they wanted. Oh my God. What? Like what? Okay. Because good is never good enough. It never will be good enough. And it's not even bisexually canon. Now, if the writers come out and say something different, sure, I'll eat crow. But as of right now, Mineta is still Mineta, is still a pervert, is still Mineta. Oh boy. We'll have to wait and see. I think the next chapter comes out in 7 days instead of 14 this time. So we'll have to just wait and see. But as of right now, Mineta is still a straight ass pervert. Let me know, of course, what you guys think about this. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.